So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello, Aston Villa fans, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast, a later than normal post-match podcast, and I think probably best that we did this one later than normal. I wasn't around on Saturday last. Unfortunately, I had to attend to something. We unfortunately had to bury one of my relatives, but that's neither here nor there. So I got to see the match later. I didn't get to see it from at 3:00, but Paddy did, and we felt it was probably best to wait and do a post-match podcast because it was as I say, it was a bit stuck in both of our craws. Me when I saw the result, I watched it back afterwards, and Paddy, I think when you were watching it live. But Villa's winless streak still does continue. 2-2 draw with Palace in a game that, you know, I'll be honest with you, I don't know, should we have won it? We probably had the better chances to win it, but there's a couple of things to iron out, and we're going to take a look at them after in a moment, Paddy. But are you still feeling, I suppose, as how will I say it, is it still stuck in your craw like it was on Saturday when we met up afterwards?
Well, I've had a little bit of time to mull over it, and I just sat through the highlights there again, and I just think that people have found a weakness. And when you look at what Liverpool did, specifically that one-on-one with Bailey in that Liverpool game, and then look at what Ismail Assar did after 3 minutes, you just have to think that there's something there that can be tweaked. And then you look at, and I'm sure you're going to get to it in a while, but the corner then after the penalty. Four or five players involved in the play. And they just break. And it's just so easy. And, you know, we two players over the corner flag. We Bogard inside, then ball to McGinn. McGinn then involves Maatsen at the back post. And we're just caught. And I just can't see.
Yeah, I'm doing something I haven't done in a while, and I have some still shots of things that actually kind of make my brain hurt when I look at it. But you're right, Paddy. We'll take a look at that. I'm not cutting you off. I'm going to let you. You can see it in real time. You'll be able to explain it in a moment. I have a still shot of it.
But I'd have to think that there is just a quick fix for this, and our quick fix is not to commit so many bodies forward. What if we're gonna go short and play short set plays? Don't commit so many people into the box. Then keep someone back there that can go and win the first ball on the break, as opposed to having somebody chasing back whoever that man is. It's Mateta or Sarr or Salah the last day when Bailey took him down. They scored from it ultimately, but there has to be a quick fix. The same way teams are coming to Villa Park and setting up in that absolutely congested midfield and central defensive area that we've left wide open. So yeah, look, fire away, and we'll have a look at the screenshots that you were alluding to there a second ago.
Yeah, because this ain't going to be a long one. Two reasons: I'm only on my lunch break, so I need to get back to work at 12:30, and Paddy's more or less the same. So this ain't going to be a long one, but we'll keep it specifically, I suppose, to what we saw from the game. I'm going to talk about some positives first I saw in the game. I thought the way Ollie Watkins took his goal was a positive. I thought the shot he had just before that, the Dean Henderson, somehow his hand. Watch that back again. See how far back behind his body his hand is. A remarkable save. Brilliant save. Leon Bailey hitting the stanchion, missing the penalty. We were unlucky in areas, but we were damn right like poor in other areas as well. And there's a statistic going around. We've created more big chances than any team in the Premier League, and we haven't taken them. And that to me is a lot of where our issues lie. We need to score goals to win games because we don't keep clean sheets at the back end. And we're going to take a look at that in a moment. I'm actually just going to bring it up here now on screen. And apologies for the crudeness of some of these. These are just still shots from the game. So firstly, this is where Mateta gets the ball, picks up the ball in the run up to their goal. And I'm absolutely flabbergasted at a couple of things here. So we've got professional footballers, okay, and I might be a small bit hyperbolic with regards to this, but where Tielemans lines up here shows that we drastically need to have when you play Tielemans and Barkley together, the Tielemans as the six there just doesn't have the defensive capabilities to be able to stop a striker dropping off here. Mateta comes into, he has the freedom of the park for ages there. It forces Pau Torres in this instance here. I don't know if you guys can see my cursor. Pau Torres has to step out, and we've got Maatsen and Diego Carlos looking across here, playing on Ismail Assar, who makes a beautiful run. Mateta then has the freedom of the park. It takes him an age to get turned as well here. Like, and there's nobody within 5 yards of him here. So it takes him so long to get turned, and he's still able to get the ball off here. But my big issue here is that midfield are, like, we've got Lamar Bogart here and at the bottom of the screen here, tracking the run from Devaney. All right. We've got nobody up here at the very top of the screen. We can see Mateta has a choice of 2 players to play it though. And we make up his decision to play it here into the middle of the field because Pau Torres is forced to engage. I don't agree with, I know instinctively he engages here from an instinct point of view. But if Pau Torres holds his position here, that pass doesn't get played. I bet you it doesn't get played because it just opens up like the Red Sea for me. And that's where we're missing a Kamara or missing a dedicated defensive midfielder. And we praise Yuri Tielemans an awful lot, and this is not me saying he's a bad player, but in an instance like this, he didn't know where to be. He didn't know where to stop that drop off from the striker. We can say Pau Torres should have followed him and not have to engage once he had the ball, but that's not the way that the centre halves should be forced to play in a situation like this when we're this high up the field. For me, that's a huge that was a huge area, and it happens again a couple of times during the first half.
Just remind me there, Neil. This is the first goal, isn't it?
This is the first goal, yeah. And Sarr goes in here and scores. You know,
Okay,
Maatsen tries to keep pace with him. Diego Carlos stops running maybe about 40 yards out from goal and just gives up on the chase. Which, look, he's never going to get it. He's never going to get there. But that's beside the point. But look at the vast quantities of space that's there, all because Torres has to engage because our midfield spacing was wrong and our midfield did not. They did not account for the fact that a striker might drop off here. And if we look back here again, this just shows Tielemans again.
Before you go on, just go back to that one there just for a second.
Yeah.
Now, I know you've singled out Tielemans, and you're absolutely correct in doing so. But I want to signal out Ross Barkley. If you see there is in the inside right position, he has just given the ball away there about 5 yards further and hasn't recovered any way into that.
He stops the call out. He stops the call for free as well.
But there was no free. There was no free to even call for. But look, I'm just saying, like we've decided to engage those 2 central defensive midfielders in a high press, and Barkley hasn't recovered. Tielemans, to some way, he's gained about 15 yards from where the ball was lost. Barkley hasn't. So there's so much wrong, and I do believe Tielemans is probably a victim of, like, that's his 3rd defensive midfield partnership of the season that he's had to play with.
Absolutely true.
We have to be a little bit forgiving on that, but there's more people we can give out about later on. But go on, continue on.
Well, I just want, No, you're dead right. You're dead right. Yeah, and that's the context that we have here. But the reason I picked out Tielemans is this is 5 minutes later. I think it's about 5, maybe. I think it's only about 5 minutes later. Tielemans has the ball in midfield here. He's completely isolated. He's loads of space, but he's got an open ball to Lamar Bogart. Will Hughes, all he has to do is to get close to him. He nips the ball off Tielemans here, and what we're left with is a 2-on-2 up top. Ismail Assar and Mateta, with our 2 centre halves who are inside our own half. We can't play a high line here. So this is another piece that drives me scatty here. So I'm not backing Pau Torres or Diego Carlos to win any foot race. Never mind a foot race against Ismail Assar, and never mind a foot race inside our own half, inside their half where they can't be offside. So we've got a staggered 2 centre halves here, which is fine. Look, I know that they can't, they're not robotic, and instinct always plays a line. So I'm not saying that this is a massive issue here. This happens so much during the game. So I'm not saying that that's an issue. But when Tielemans loses the ball here, Maatsen is right up. He's pushed right up top here. Okay, and I'm beginning to see this as a small bit of an issue, because if we've no defensive midfielder in there and Tielemans loses it here, when the easy ball is to play it to Lamar Bogart, but he's trying to get around here to get it into Ross Barkley. Again, I completely understand that. And if he makes that pass, it opens up everything. It really does. And this is Monday morning quarterback stuff. This is hindsight is 2020. This is idealistic talking. It is. But it leads to Will Hughes nipping in, getting the ball off him, and Will Hughes carrying the ball. And we're left with a 3-on-2 situation here with Ismail Assar running at the top. Our two centre halves have to come right in close together. Tielemans has to bust his gut to get back. Lamar Bogart is left running in treacle. And what we have is, as we move it on here, we can see that Mateta, so our two centre halves are getting closer and closer together. And this is one of the things that slightly annoys me about Diego Carlos. And I know it's in the moment, and I know this is really nitpicky and stuff, but how close our two centre halves get together here, and Mateta running free. They're a big striker. Now the ball goes out to Ismail Assar, who takes a shot. But if Ismail Assar plays that ball across the box, Mateta has a tap in at the back post, because the panic that sets in when we lose the ball that high up, because our centre halves won't have the pace to get back. Neither of the two of them will have the pace to get back. They can contain, but they won't have the pace to get back to win the ball. And panic ensues. And we're left in a situation. Now, Martinez blocks the ball here and gets on it second time, and we don't concede a goal. But to me, that's a small bit frustrating. Like, that if we lose that ball in midfield, like, watch where we lost the ball. And it was an easy counter-attack. We lose the ball at the edge of our attack, of their defensive third. And 8 seconds later, it ends up down here. Very simply, like, they didn't need to do anything other than play the ball long. That's all they needed to do. And
Go back to the original picture where
this one?
Yeah, this one.
Yeah.
So this shows a typical setup as well of how teams are congested in that midfield. If you look, Barkley is engaged very high there. He's the one through the middle there on the right. There's a left back out of shot here as well. So
in Mattison's up at the very, very top. He's the highest player.
They're left back I'm talking about.
Sorry, correct. Yeah, correct.
So there's a 5 across there. There's one sitting, and then there's 2 Rottweilers just hunting that ball in that area. And this is how teams are frustrating us and making it hard for us. And as a result, you see Barkley very much engaged there, as he was in the first shot that I discussed earlier. And Tielemans just so happens. I'm trying to remember. I think that could have been a free, the foul or the tackle by Will Hughes, but that's nitpicking. But look, that I just wanted to highlight that this is where we're it's causing us problems breaking down this midfield structure, which we saw from Palace in the cup game. We saw Ipswich do it. There's everywhere we failed, we've seen it done to us, and we saw Bruges do it to great effect as well.
Yeah, and we can see the second goal from a situation again of our own making. You know, we're in complete control. We have a corner. Let's move it on forward there. So this is what it looks like this is what it looks like when John McGinn clips that ball in towards Ian Matson. So the ball is there. He's lost the header. And this is what Aston Villa's defensive setup looks like. Okay? So my criticism with regards to this is John McGinn can see the field here. John McGinn knows he's the only man behind. Matson has had to run from almost the corner of the box there, because that's where his setup was for the corner, from after the corner was cleared. He'd come out towards there. He's had to run back in there. Now watch what McGinn can see in front of him here. He can see 2 players. If we lose this, we're up shit creek already. And I feel he should have known that. See the way that we're all set up. Yes, the corner was from the right hand side. We've Tielemans, we've Lamar Bogart there. We've got all our bodies are to the right hand side here. And I know if this goes right, you clip the ball to the back post, Ian Matson heads it across, and we've got bodies there to bundle it into the back of the net. Ian Matson's 5'7". That's my big issue here. Ian Matson's 5'7", and he's the defensive cover on the left hand side here. So when McGinn plays that in, it's a Hail Mary. It's as Hail Mary as Hail Marys get. You plop it in there and you expect a fella who's my height to jump above and win that header and somehow direct it across all those bodies to the back post of where we are. It was never happening. It was never going to come off. It was a poor decision of the ball back in, and it broke our defensive capability back there where Ian Matson was, who is a speedster and was probably there to get the ball back. So when we move this on, I went the wrong way. When we move this on, this is the situation. Maatsen is breaking his neck to get back there. But Maatsen was already in and around that position before the ball was played in. So McGinn is a hiding to nothing here. Like he does pretty well to get back into stifle them. But Ismail Assar, because he's running diagonally and Ismail Assar is running straight, he just blows past him. We've got Yuri Tielemans is the only one who gets back here. So Lamar Bogard, apologies. Lamar Bogard running diagonally here when we move it on. Lamar Bogard gets back and gets across. Tielemans gets into the box, and then the ball comes across, and Tielemans' feet get caught up. He's after making a 75-yard sprint all the way back. The second or third one he's had to do in the game, because it's the second or third situation that we've just highlighted here that this has happened. His feet get clumped up together. He can't get any block in it, and Devaney, all Devaney has to do is just guide it around him into the back of the net. So my big issue here is that I've no problem with us playing one person back. But when we make a decision like John McGinn did there, and it won't be spoken about, but to clip a ball into a back post to somebody who's 5'7", to expect him to climb above the full back, to head that ball all the way back across the box in the hope that one of our guys can bundle the ball back in, to me is really, really silly. And it left us completely open there. It left us completely open. People are feel free to disagree with me on that one. But these are the margins, and this is what people are doing. There's a reason that Crystal Palace left Ismail Assar out there. Is that Sarah or is it Mateta? I can't remember which one of them that was.
Sarah's in the middle. He's out there.
He is, yeah, sorry, you're right, yeah. But there's a reason that they left people out there. Because
just remember when you're saying that John McGinn is floating that into, I think you're probably being a little bit short on his height. I think he's about 5'9" or 5'10". He just looks it when he's up against people. Is he not? Anyway, either way, there is no doubt in my mind that this was a free kick or a set piece that was worked on in training, and that's what he was told to do. And never forget that when you're looking at these things, because it's something that was worked on. So Maatsen arrived late. McGinn plays it into the back post. He doesn't win it, and that's when we're caught.
Yeah, it says in his wiki he's 5'10". There is no way in the wide earthly world Ian Maatsen is 5'10".
Yeah, well,
I refuse to believe it.
Yeah, I watched him warming up in whatever game I was over at, and I thought, Jesus, that fella's much bigger than I thought he was. So there you go.
Like, I'm not having it. I'm not having it that he's 5'10" anyway. But like, he didn't win the header. I've no reason to believe that he would have won the header, even if he is 5'10". You know, this is the thing. He was our defensive cover, is the big piece here. He is the defensive cover that was supposed to be there. He's the speedster. When you take him out of a situation like that, and regardless of who it is, it's a Hail Mary to get that ball across from there. See where McGinn is playing it from. There's no angle on the ball. It's just a floated ball in up over the top. He used to generate all the power. Yes, he's coming over the player there. To me, that's like if Aston McPhee is drawing that up. And I know we scored from a corner, very well worked corner, and we scored a lot from Aston McPhee. This isn't anti-Aston McPhee. But, you know, if that's worked from the training ground, well, then show me evidence that they've scored from that multiple times in training before, and I'll be flabbergasted if they have. Be flabbergasted. I just don't know. I just don't know.
And just remember that the goal that we did score from the Barkley header, we missed. He played an identical ball into it just a couple of minutes earlier. So these things are tried and tried again. It came off the second time we got the goal and we got the equaliser. And grateful it's an equaliser to stop the rot. I think that was important too. While I'm bitterly disappointed because we should have won the game, really. When you look at the chances that we created, you know, Bailey hitting the post, that great save from Henderson. And plus, we got to thank the world's number one, because he made a world-class save laid on to touch that ball onto the post. Nobody could believe it when they look back at the replay that he actually got his hand to that. So we've a lot to be thankful for here. I know we've gone deep on what's gone on here from set pieces and how we're caught out, but that's going to have to be tweaked. We can't leave that amount of space for, let's face it, lightning quick. Like Sarr did this how many years ago for Watford? Against us in the opening day of the season. And look, he's a dangerous player, and it should have been highlighted and should have been watched. And look, here we are, and it's a tough one to take, but I think with some tweaks we can sort that out. But I felt the tweak should have been sorted out post Liverpool, but here we are again, still talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah, so Danny asks here, so what you're saying partly is on Nuno's tactics, correct, agree or disagree? I don't know, is it about his tactics, but I think he's like, I think it just goes to show how valuable or how we have to play Konza centre half. Like, Konza can move. He can move better than Diego Carlos or Pau Torres, and that's my issue here, that we've brought different players in, and we've put this in a position like that corner is probably set up okay if Maatsen isn't the one that's clipped into, considering where their players are overloaded to on that side, and he's a speedster. I'd have no problem with him being able to match Mateta for pace there. But the issue here is that we're probably being masters of our own downfall here, and maybe we need to, like, we're slow and ponderous in transition, but then when a corner happens like this, we're frantic to get the ball back in the box again, and we got to make it happen, we got to make everything work, and we're gonna make that ball, just put it back in the blender, see what happens. That's what this ball looked like it was to me. If it was designed, absolutely fine, but the issue that I have with it is, if we're slow and ponderous during our whole build up, and I didn't say this at the time, and I meant to, but I kind of got all hot under the collar. I meant to say it at the time. We were very slow and ponderous in this whole game, but the second we get a corner like this, we go. It's all systems go, and we've pushed all these people forward. And after the Liverpool game, we've been caught again, like we were against Liverpool, and that to me shows. I don't know, is it ill discipline from the players? I don't know, is it lack of learning, or what is it? It's something that can be cured, but it's just it's deflating to see it happen again so soon after the Liverpool game, and to be so noticeable. I suppose so noticeable that that's the case. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I spoke in the preview about us not making any strange decisions in the starting lineup. I thought Bogard was a strange decision at the time, and I think I was vindicated in it too. I'm not saying he won't make a good player, but he's not. He hasn't shown us he's ready for this level yet, and I probably think that the result is different if we'd started with Matty Cash. Obviously, nothing to base that on other than my gut feeling. It's a pity, and it's a pity that we don't have Ezri Konsa, because I think with those two decisions, I think if Cash plays and Konsa plays, obviously Konsa was injured, I think we're looking at a completely different result.
Yeah, I think the idea behind playing Bogard at right back is so that he comes in and plays that inverted right back role, which I've said it last year. We didn't. People were saying that we played it last year. We haven't really played that to a great degree, and I'm just not sure it suits this team's setup. So I don't think that he did that. Now, a couple of screenshots I've showed there, you can see him moving more towards the inside. Yeah, I would like him to be asked what the margins he sees in the differences between Lamar Bogard and Nedeljkovic are in an instance like that. That I'd like that question to be answered, and I think a lot of people would like that question to be answered. I think a lot of fans would like that question to be answered. Just so that we can know where we stand with it, really, because Nedeljkovic goes away and plays with Serbia at right back every single international break. And Lamar Bogard isn't even, maybe he is, I'm not sure. Sorry, I might be talking, I just might be anti-Dutch players at the moment. I don't want it to come across that way. It's just in case he wasn't in the Dutch under-21 squad during
idea whether he is or
the
not.
break. Yeah. But and I know we're all about systems and we're all about everything, and we've mentioned one or two things about Nedeljkovic as well that we've seen that we'd like him to correct too. So it's not one over the other. But I just like that question to be asked. You spend 9 million on Nedeljkovic, you bring him in with good fanfare last year, and he's struggling to get minutes when our first choice right back is out, and they're playing somebody who's only converted to right back in the last 6 months in there. I just like that question to be asked, and I'm okay with the answer. I'm okay with the answer.
Yeah, and Duncan does say something similar, but the worrying thing there is he may leave the lack of game time. Maybe he doesn't trust him enough. Maybe he has given him a couple of chances this season to get himself up, and maybe he feels he needs another loan, and maybe that loan is coming in January with a replacement coming in for not a replacement, maybe an upgrade at right back for somebody, or it was no. We all know that we tried to sign Kertrauda at the start of the season. you just can't help but think what an addition he would have been to that team at the weekend. So yeah, it's still a problem child, that right back, right centre back, if we pick up any injuries. So I think we're all rightly a little bit worried about it. And while we could be talking completely differently, has that penalty go in? There's so much ifs, buts, and maybes, but the bottom line is we've only got a few minutes left, and yeah, it's a tough one to take. And look, we've got huge games coming this week, really, really big games coming this week. Hopefully, we can start pulling the W's out of the bag because they're badly needed at this stage.
They absolutely are. Absolutely are. Starting on Wednesday against Juventus team that aren't that have a couple of injuries coming into this as well, and we'll be back with a preview show of that. Look, this isn't the normal post match that we do. I wanted to highlight it because we've seen these, like we've seen what happened against Palace very recently before, and I wanted to highlight it again. I know I've gotten a bit more animated than I normally do within these. I know a lot of people message me and say thanks for being the bastion of calm and stuff like that usually in these post matches. But from what I've seen here, with regards to how we conceded those 2 goals, and look, a still shot is only a shot in time. Everybody reacts differently, instinctively, and so on and so forth. I don't blame it isn't. I'm not fully blaming the players or blaming Unai Emery for anything that's going on here. It's just decision making in the moment. You either get it right or you get it wrong. And I think for those 2 goals, we got it wholly wrong. And it'll be interesting to see how we fix that. Whether it's a spacing issue, whether it's by not pushing our fullbacks as far forward, which has been a mainstay of Unai Emery's tenure here. So, I don't want him to rip up the rule book with regards to that either. I just need to find a way of a happy medium and a balance that if we do that, if a Kamara comes back into the team, it stands in between the 2 centre halves or protects the 2 centre halves like he has before, or if we get Konsa back in there, that it's becoming blatantly obvious for me that we need to keep Konsa centre half. And I know a lot of people reference, but the times we played this back 4 with Konsa right back, we've conceded this amount of goals and stuff like that. That's fine. We're not in those games now. We're a different team now, and we're in a different situation now. And I think the stability that Konsa brings us at centre half is very much needed at the moment. We've been linked with players. I don't know how true it is. We're linked with Diego Llorente from Betis, plays right back, right centre back hybrid as well, older type player. I don't know. We'll see what happens from a transfer point of view. Maybe they don't want to go out and get another right back. We have 3 there if you count the Bogard, Cash, Jelkovic. So do we need a 4th? I don't know, but there is a wish list, I would imagine, somewhere going around Villa Park at the minute, or Bodymore, and we'll have to see what comes up from that.
We might touch on it again when we talk about Juventus, but I really need to go.
Yeah, I'm the same. I need to go too as well. Right, everybody, thanks so much for joining us. Not exactly the post-match we wanted, but we'll be back with a preview of the Juventus game, probably tomorrow, and we'll catch you for that again. In the meantime, keep the faith, stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.